Yay! Okay, I'm finally on. Wow, I look crazy with this lighting. Anyway, who cares, right? Got to get over the anxiety. Welcome to my Psychic Soul Healer channel. My name is Laura, and I am going to do a spiritual general message for anyone that lands on this video. I wanted to look at abundance. I wanted to talk about abundance. You know, for those of you that are new to the channel, welcome, by the way. And if you're coming back and visiting me, then welcome again. Hey, Suzanne. Thanks for joining my live stream. If you're new to the channel, welcome. You know, I'm trying to get more consistent, and that's, for me, it tends to sometimes be a grounding issue. You know, I have a lot going on. My husband's health is really bad, and then I'm trying to start my business up and then be consistent. So you know how it is. It's a healing journey. It's a healing journey for me, as well it is for anyone that lands on this channel. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. Now, for those of you that are new or that wind up listening to this live stream after the fact, know that these are timeless readings, because I always look the spiritual energy of everyone's situation. So will I talk about soulmate twin flames? Of course I will. I'm going to. But I want to look at the triggers. I want to see how they play out within a karmic theme. And then I want to see how that affects the other energetic parts of your life. Because what I was saying before is that when we have spiritual wounds, and they distort our perception about ourselves and the world around us. And then what happens is our actions and our behaviorisms are in alignment with those core beliefs. So you may be attached to someone that you know loves you, is a soulmate twin flame, but they don't act like it. And it plays out within a karmic theme. And that karmic theme is happening in order for you to learn. It's giving you an opportunity to learn, to integrate the spiritual lesson. So eventually you don't have to keep going through that experience. All relationships are karmic, because all relationships teach. Now, are they all as devastating as a past life? No. Past life relationships, you've been coming back and forth with your connection many, many times, and the lessons, again, accumulate. The emotions accumulate. That's why there's such a strong spiritual connection. And so, again, spiritual connections transcend time and space, just like the psychic realm, the spiritual realm. So just the same as how you'll wind up listening to this message, well, it's, again, anyone else that needs to hear the spiritual lesson will also winds up. That's how spirit works. But the readings, at least, even if it's a situation that you can't really do anything about it, understand you'll learn how to handle it differently. And that automatically makes the person that you're dealing with deal with you differently, especially if you don't like how they're dealing with you, if you get what I mean. So we look at the spiritual parts of self. The spiritual parts of self are the parts of self that it's, again, transcends time and space, just like your relationships. Well, soul wounds, spiritual energies. Okay, we're just going to pull omniscience. This is going to be your energy first. So this tells me that you're a very spiritual person automatically, that you're very sensitive. You're a highly sensitive person. You are, again, someone that connects very well with your heart consciousness. So emotional, because you're tapped in, but you always wind up connecting to people that are not that nice. Or the lesson is always hurtful, plays out within love. So there's a little bit of a block of believing that you could be loved, even though you know you can be loved. It's again the subconscious, and that could just be because you were in a relationship with someone previously that made you not feel loved. And so on some level, you hold the vibrational dissonance to that. And how you know is because you get nervous again, and that fear. So understand, when we have gone through experiences that are traumatic, and the mind doesn't know the difference between emotional or whether it's physical. Again, it sees it. So psychic trauma is the same as physical trauma. Whether you flew out through the car windshield or whether or not you were betrayed by someone that you opened up your heart to, creates intimacy issues. Trust is intimacy. I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about trust. So fantasizing. So that's really what happens when we're in a relationship. So this automatically opens up to the overall energy at play. So this might not even be you. This might be a person that's connected to you that you, again, have strong feelings for, and you don't really know why they're not treating you well. That they're not. So it's playing out within your relationship, but would it play out within money? Well, if your natural energy is this, that's a very high vibration. So you say, well, why does that happen? A like goes to like. I'm not mean. No, you're not, but there's a lesson. So it's the energy that we're afraid of that we attract a lot of times. This energy is very heavy energy. This energy is very heavy, right? Victimization, betrayal, trauma. This is what creates trauma. And then what happens is we become paranoid, which is out of alignment with your natural energy. So that's the vibrational dissonance that when we wind up in a relationship with someone that we don't trust. And so let's see what the spiritual block is. Okay, constrained. So there's always a sense of feeling trapped. So, and that happens, understand, if we've given up too much of our own power, right? So it doesn't start where we just attract someone. A lot of times you attract someone that has the same behaviorisms that a previous person had with you. So that again would play out within abundance, within how well your relationships would be and how well you would trust. But and that's the overall spiritual energy. And I'm sorry to say, again, so why am I sorry to say? Because that happens to us all. It's the way that we learn, but understand it's a sense of I feel like a really nice person, someone that, again, holds a high vibration, but holds this heavy energy of being nervous and worried about who you're going to attract now, and maybe feel, again, constrained, or attracting someone that is also afraid of commitment, because whenever they get into a relationship, they feel that people constrain them. And that happens when you're in a relationship with someone that is emotionally not intelligent, with someone that has a problem communicating. So again, this is a shadow healing channel. So I am going to point out the imbalances. I am going to point out what needs to be healed. Otherwise, we know that karmic themes can loop, meaning they can continue to play out. And they play out within sometimes every 7 years, sometimes it's every 12 years. And so what happens is you have people that wind up having major intimacy issues. You wind up having people be in relationships for a certain limited amount of time, and then they abandon themselves, abandon it. They don't, it doesn't work out. It ends in betrayal. And then they sit on the couch for about 5 years. And then they finally get the courage up that somebody comes or someone comes along and they take another chance and they find that the same thing happens. So then what that trauma is what I'm seeing within this spread right here. So this is the underlying energy. Yeah, see, Knight of Pentacles, like again, so it's a bit like promises that were built, that someone promised a lot, but never came through. So again, but there's going to be communication with your person. Their energy is still, because this is a spiritual situation. When you are experiencing a shadow, living a shadow experience, so and again, one that plays out as a karmic theme, and it almost feels as if you're stuck. Well, what happens is that both parties a lot of times can't really move forward. Sure, we might be able to run and be with someone temporarily, but we're still there. It still affects us. It still plays out. It might even play out within the relationship that we're in previously. Like I said, karmic loops. Okay, so 10 of Swords, like, again, overwhelmed. So I do believe that your person does want to come and talk to you. So this was a soulmate twin flame relationship, and they are going to make their way to talk to you, but they're going to, they want you to feel sorry for them. They want you to see, like, look at all their problems and understand they create all their problems. So, and they create their problems not just because of what they did to you, but this is what they do in all their relationships. So you hold a very high vibration when it comes to how you treat people. But see, this came out reversed. So it's, again, it should have been the star. But it's, again, it was reversed. So there is the sense of when a person comes in broken, again, like they're coming in to like make a lot of excuses for themselves, it means that they haven't done their healing yet. Because here's your person, again, the person that you're connected to, when you want to know what's blocking you. Well, what's blocking you is this relationship that was traumatic that you didn't learn from. And how is it affecting the relationship? Well, both parties really can't move forward, but it's more fuckery. And there's no other easy way to say it, because it's like your person comes back, but not offering anything, not offering, coming in broken, coming in like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. I have so much, and with a lot of promises, but I'm going to focus on really nothing. So in this, if I don't, then that it can't really go anywhere. They're used to dealing with stupid people. This is the best way that I can explain it. Or less evolved people, I should say, because it's almost like they hope that you'll emotionally feel sorry for them, that you'll be so taken with them that you're not going to see. And that might have happened if you didn't value yourself and you didn't go through this already. But there's a sense that, they're going to come and talk to you, but they, again, look at the focus. When a person comes in broken and they're like, there's so many problems, or there's so many problems. I can't do it. It's like, and why I can't give you. It's, they're coming in saying, I have nothing to offer you. And if they have nothing to offer you, why is that? Why is that? Because that they're coming back to talk to you. But it's like, it's understand, as long as you like entertain this, you stay in this energy, you like this energy, which comes out as anger, because there's really like two energies, love and fear. And as I said, this person brings this energy out within you. This is a shadow. This is a shadow, because you wouldn't be able to manifest this. You wouldn't be able to come. So when I say, well, what is it? Like, because really it's not as important, though, of course, we're going to look and see why they can't give more. But what's really important here is why? Like, why would you entertain this? That's what's important. A lot of times we get stuck in the story about why isn't this person treating me the way that they should? It's like, and then it's like spirit saying, yeah, why aren't you treating yourself the way that you should? Why are you acting like this person is the be end all? That they actually feel that confident that they could come in and do something like that. Again, part of it is that their ego, they're distorted. Again, the shadow is the ego. It's going to, again, project itself as cocky. It's going to project itself as like macho, and like, I don't care, and I don't have emotions, and I don't really, and that's weak. That's not emotionally intelligent. So again, if you're someone that holds this energy, that's a high vibration, tapped into the universe. And again, I said you were an empath, and this person's like showing narcissistic tendencies, and it's because they're very immature. So it's, again, the Fool, and it came up reversed. So there's a part of you, again, how I take that card is, it's like almost like the devil that that you grew up in an environment that you didn't get enough. So it's, again, this is why the shadow. It's like, it's because it's almost like, well, I don't trust anybody, right? When the Fool is upright, this is, yeah, that's what I'm saying. What happens when you have that trauma, Suzanne, when you have that trauma, then you say, how does it affect me? How does it affect me? And why does it affect me? It's like, and really, because that person never let you in. And when they never 100% let you in, it's not because of you, it's because of them. So when they say, how does it play out? Like, what's the shadow for you? Even though, of course, we want to know why this person was, because we have an ego too. We want to know, like, how can we rewrite this story? Because part of a core belief, it means that this is a trauma. It's a trauma. It's a belief because you lived it. So you have to integrate the spiritual lesson, because when you're with a person like this that creates so much, hostility and anger, they have a disconnect from Father a lot of times. So everything's a struggle, and they make everything a struggle. This way, you're never really able to ask them for anything. They keep you in this energy of lack. And that's, again, the Lovers, and always paranoid, but making you paranoid because of their insecurity. So it's almost like we say, like, how would it affect your abundance? Well, it would affect your abundance is because you would be putting most of the energy on trying to fix your marriage for a long time. Because people that invest in other people, that's what they do when they get married. That's not psychic, that's just common sense. And so you would be continually trying to fix that. And then yet still it would not be enough. So there would be this sense of lack again. And we know that that's not the same energy as abundance. We know that that's the exact opposite of abundance. So, and we don't want to have that. So we have to say, why did that happen? Like we have to be detective, because it's not so much will you meet somebody. We want to meet somebody on a higher vibration, someone that we don't want to feel like. I mean, this obviously caused a lot of trust issues and fear. So how do we integrate that spiritual lesson? Is I know how without pulling the cards. It's like you create yourself. You create a new version of yourself. And that is again, look, the tower. And so the tower would be normally like everything like that, whatever your foundation was on is broken. So could you redate this person? Let's just say not for you, Susan, like, but when there's again like a soulmate, a twin flame, that's a difficult relationship, that the karmic theme is playing like this, because this is a common theme, unfortunately. You have to say, well, what do I do? Am I just screwed? I mean, or I'm going to keep like attracting narcissists. I'm going to keep attracting like, what the hell? And really, it's like you raise your vibration, but part of before you can raise your vibration, you really need to like create a tower moment. Like anything that even holds that vibration, you need to get rid of. That's what that really symbolizes. And that, or if it's family, then you have to really limit the time that you are around them. If they bring down your energy, you have to be around high vibrational people, and you have to invest in yourself. So you have to give yourself the love, and then connect to other people that give you love. You raise your vibration in that way, because it's like, because on some level there was a sense of not really believing that you could have it, or being too familiar with not having it, so it just felt comfortable, which is what I got out of the Fool card. Like it was like I wasn't paying attention. Why would I pay attention? Well, it felt normal. That's why. You know, it's like I can live that way, but do you want to? No, I don't. You know, like I don't. And then so clean house. Well, those kind of came flying out. So again, the Hangman reversed. So, and there was a lot, but I never believe in mistakes, you know. So if there was 5 cards that came out, I would read all 5. So the Hangman reversed, 10 of Wands, mid-phase, and Temperance, peace and harmony. So you're like in this place of really just like not 100% over what has transpired, but also like I would say halfway, right? Because that's what mid phase is. It's like you can look back and say, hey, look, I got through all this nonsense. I got through all this pain. And what's really important is getting to a place of peace and harmony, like which is peace of mind. And really, and so if you're listening to this, the message really at this given time for you most likely is, how can I find just peace of mind with, because understand, if you've been around energy that's like this and it creates all this, you just want peace. And the way that I'm telling you that you'd have to raise your vibration is you'd have to clean house, because on some level that felt normal to you, and you also were not getting enough love, so you wouldn't recognize it. You wouldn't, which is how a spiritual wound, again, a karmic theme plays out. A karmic theme comes about because it's really spirit, the universe, saying, hey, you need to learn. You're not looking at yourself from that energy. So let's look at the energy that we were looking at ourselves, because a lot of times we don't know. We go through the experience and we're unconscious. So when we're talking about awakening, what are we talking about? We're talking about awakening to our true, unique individuality, which we're not here by mistake. We're here by the universe's grand design. That is, again, we're all part of that. And it's to give and receive of love, to become love. It's again, and self-righteous, to be able to recognize, again, maybe you were brought up around somebody that acted like they were self-righteous, but they almost get the energy like of angry, mean, again, cruel, that cruel energy, almost again, where grew up with someone that did judge harshly, someone that never admitted they were wrong, somebody that that my ex-husband was my person and I want to cut ties with him. It's been hard. He doesn't want to let me go. No, well, that's the thing. He wouldn't let you go because understand those soulmate twin flame relationships, they do become very codependent, but it's up to you to cut the ties. And that's by becoming yourself. That was the message. It was like, you have to give yourself the love. And that's by becoming yourself. Otherwise, you can't. You have to recreate a new life. You got told what to do. You're getting told what to do. God said you have to clean house, like with the structure that everything was made needs to you need to clean house. And the only way is by creating yourself. The kingdom of heaven's inside of you. You have to become it. If you can imagine it, you can become it. And that's in giving yourself love so you can connect to other people and situations. Otherwise, you'll never be able to, because this person, there is love there. It's not a very healthy love, because this person needs to do work on themselves. And part of them doesn't want to do the work. And that's what you know. So it's this person, it's again, they almost are they're a codependent, and you're codependent, but you have to say why, because we only have control over our life. We don't have control over anyone's life. We can't make them be different to us. And that's the problem. It's like you have to, even though it's like, oh, well, what do I do with this person? Because I know that they're not going to stop. So there's this energy too of fear. Like, but then it's also like a lot of different emotions. And the reason why is because the unknown, your reptilian mind is where you hold your shadow. It's your reptilian mind, survival mind. It's going to be like, no go, we're not getting rid of them. I don't care what you say, because that's still love. It's like only God's love is perfect. So that even though it's not perfect love, so you have to become the love. You have to raise that vibration. You have to integrate the spiritual lesson. And it's not about being perfect. It has been hard to let him go. I'm working on it. Right. That's why I'm saying. But one easy way to do that, Suzanne, is by becoming yourself. And so that's the energy of needing to be perfect is one of your wounds. It's like, I'm assuming because you're the only one on. So it's and so, it's not about being perfect. It's about becoming. And maybe there's a little bit of fear. And that's what we need to look at. That's how we know that there's a shadow. We know that there is a shadow because there's fear, and we don't want that, because it's like you don't even want that for him. You want more. And so you are like halfway, mid-phase. That's what it said. But understand, you have to become the love and really I feel like it's, believe it or not, like this, it says exhibitionist, like hogging the spotlight. I think that you're the exact opposite. And I think it's about becoming yourself. And whether that's using social media, whether that's doing your own thing, maybe taking a class online, like it's like there's Udemy courses. It's to put your energy towards growing yourself. It's like to create a new world inside. Otherwise, it's so hard. You're telling yourself like to let go of something that you love. Your mind is about survival. It's not gonna just say, okay, let we can just let that go. It's not going to do that. It's gonna say that that was love. It was comfortable. Went for a long time, and there was good about it. But we wouldn't be able to let go. You wouldn't be able to let go and move forward. No one would. It's like unless you created an energy that was like bigger than that. And so that's the marker. And so you're a good planner. It's like this is schemer. So it's like I'm using those cards again for again more of the symbolization. So schemer, I think you're someone that's very intuitive. I think that it's about you have to you there's a part of you that doesn't trust yourself. This person, even though they were fearful and there was issues, they always acted very strong and macho. So, and like they have it all together and they kind of made you feel safe. So you have to say the root chakra is off with you as well, where you don't feel safe within your stability. So that's why, again, there's a little bit of sense of how do you heal that? How do you become? And what I'm telling you is that first chakra of like putting your mind grounding. It's very difficult to ground when we're emotional. So you have to like ground yourself. And the only thing that does that a lot of times is school or learning something and putting your energy towards something that you love. And so that brings us to your second chakra, which also that spirit is saying is a little imbalanced. So that it's again all about your unique individuality, and that's about becoming yourself. And that's why I'm saying, and that would mean not just taking a class, it would mean join clubs, it would be meaning interactive, meaning being your body and really like participate in life so you can create a new life. And that's the only way because it's a grounding issue. Otherwise, like you have to say, what does this person do? This person kind of did balance you out, even though it was also like toxic and you weren't getting enough. There was also this other element to it. And that's what your mind, reptilian mind, holds on to. It's like, oh, well, that was important. And that's why it like you wouldn't be able to fully integrate the spiritual lesson. I mean, because we can look at the triggers, but does it matter? It's like not if there's nothing else on the menu. It's like if that's the only thing, then you can deal with abuse because that's really like where you have had enough of the abuse treatment. Like again, because this person's by like again would because they weren't emotionally intelligent, they would take their their feelings and their problems kind of out on you because again if they weren't capable of showing emotions, then again showing vulnerability is out the window also. So that like would be create a very bad imbalance. And if you're an empath, which is how your reading started, well then that's even more crazy. That's even more problems over time because you're really going to internalize it. You're really going to feel it. But it's not because that person didn't love or doesn't care. It's like, it's to understand what the issue is and disturbed. I've suffered enough mental and emotional abuse. That's, again, you with that person because if they're not capable of showing their feeling. And so again, you're familiar with that. You're familiar with that energy. So you never emotionally got enough. And that's what Spirit was saying with that Fool card, which is like, well, it felt familiar. You weren't aware. Now you are, but you still have no marker. And the marker is, I don't know what it's going to look like, whether a person's giving a little because it's better, or is it still off? It's again, there's that fear. So let's see what some good job things would be for you. Like, because really it's all about your soul's path. You got to be like, it's like, otherwise, like, you need to give yourself something just as emotionally fulfilling. This is the devil that you're fighting. That's the devil. Because the devil's like, oh, good, like her marker is off. I'm gonna bring like these imbalanced people. And so it's like you have to say, well, how do I get my marker to a place of like I can tell whether someone's giving little or not. And really, if you're very interactive and busy in your life, then you're making a person like, you're making them see that you have other options in your life, first of all, because you're very interactive in your life and you'll meet friends and there'll be other opportunities, but also you're making a person think about you. Again, when you're so sensitive and it's like and nice in your relationship, it's not about not being nice, and it's not about being mean either. Like, we tend to sometimes find a hard balance, but you don't have to do that if you're invested in your life, because the universe does that. The universe says, well, the person needs to hold up to this level, and if they're not capable of doing it, then back of the line. And then, is it hurtful? Yeah, a lot of times it is hurtful, but Spirit says it's a lot worse if you went out with that person or married them. So you wouldn't let let it go. You can't repeat it. Six of Swords, assistance. Yeah. So maybe there's a part of you that's a little bit codependent too. So that's where you have to say, that's because emotionally you didn't get what you needed. So you're used to being the person that gives. So it's all about, again, giving it back to yourself. I'm curious on soul's purpose, though, to be honest with you. Usually I just channel that part, to be honest with you, but I want to see what the cards are. Deluded. I think helping people. I think helping people like with their mind. I think it's doing something with counseling. I think doing something in that area, because again, I'm feeling like you were familiar with this energy. And so maybe even becoming a relationship coach, right? So it's all about integrating difficult spiritual lessons. And we can't integrate anything if there is nothing, if we don't know. So a lot of times you say, well, I have this broken experience, and God says, well, that's good. All the broken experiences are what give you flavor. All the hard experiences that were bittersweet as well, which obviously your marriage, it's again that it's hard because there's so many different emotions you couldn't even possibly know what that feels like. So that brings you on a healing journey. So again, your ex gets another win because he brings you to your path. He brings you to maybe connecting to other women that have gone through difficult times. You become a relationship coach. You master the art of, again, of dating, of teaching people how to date. Believe there's a niche for everything. But a lot of times when you're a highly sensitive person like yourself, I know It's all about, we get stuck in internalizing, and we get stuck in the thought and the emotions, and then we get out of balance. So you have to do something with that energy. It's again, and I believe connecting to people. Why? Because emotionally you need to get. Been the issue all along. That was the block. That's why you attracted that. It's again, and not attracting crazy energy either. And no, if you're an empath and a highly sensitive person, you may hold that energy. So that energy is manifestation energy. That energy, when we ground it, creates, again, experiences, purpose, change. When you're an empath, it's the emotional energy, and nothing worse than a relationship with that create is so much pain and love. Again, at the same time, you channel it, because that's not didn't just come from that relationship. You had that from another relationship. You wouldn't have manifested that. That wouldn't be a part of your experience. But how do you integrate it? How do you get over it? How can you see a new life out of your third eye? And Spirit is saying, you got to, again, create yourself grounded, take the energies and become yourself. And that's really what I feel, because it's, again, I could see you helping like other girls again, and it would be something that you just like to do, love to do. It's again, cycle of life. This is also possibly watching family and other people. So it's the generational karma, again, of maybe growing up in an environment where not they didn't just like weren't good emotionally, that maybe again they also came from parents, and their your ancestors all have that through your lineage. And that's why it would be a spiritual path, because you have to say, what is the shift, the paradigm shift, and what is the spiritual war that's happening? And the spiritual war that's happening really is of the mind, and it's one that keeps us stuck in limitation. So the whole awakening and paradigm shift is shifting from this fear-based consciousness, right, which is this consciousness where we don't know who we are, into a high vibration of love. Well, how would you know what love was unless you experienced this experience? Because a lot of times, like we have an ideal of what we believe that love is, but there's many different levels of love, and we're here to experience every single level of love. We just don't want to get stuck in any one of those limitations. And the way that you can move forward and create a life and create yourself is to become yourself. And that's through this experience. Because again, connecting, and you can connect to other young women and like yourself, and to help empower and teach and heal, and then have someone meet you from that level of consciousness. They're not meeting the same Suzanne. You're a different Suzanne, because again, that experience, you would have transcended it. And that's how you integrate a spiritual lesson. Otherwise, we can't get past that. It's like it's a hard thing, because you have to bypass the reptilian mind. And the reptilian mind is a survival mind. And it believes that, you know, that's a good enough love. If there's nothing else on the menu, then that's good enough, because like the other option is nothing. But that's because you're blocked. That's what a shadow is. It's, I'm blocked. I don't see any out to this situation. And God says, I will make a way where there is no way for you. But you have to help yourself by becoming yourself. And you are on that journey. And it's not a coincidence that you wound up on this live stream and listening to this message, because that's how spirit works. Saying, see, Suzanne, you're supported. You're loved. You can become love. You can trust yourself. That's why that's a win. But hey, I got on the YouTube at the same exact time, and that was my message, and I'm on the right track, and I'm supposed to do this because I'm sure you ask yourself, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Oh, I know I'm doing the right thing, but why do I feel so horrible about doing the right thing? And God says, because you don't love yourself enough. And that's what you're working on. But I'm telling you from experience that the only way to really fill that hole is to become yourself, because then you shed the behaviorisms and the thought processes that are implemented in and held in place, that you've put in place. You shed those because you became a different person. You became a new person, one that you're seeing yourself as the person of how God, your creator source, has made you, opposed to a creature of the environment, a creature of your, like, again, someone that has formed so many behaviorisms and thought processes due to how other people treat you through your environment, because that's what they'll tell you. So the spiritual war that's happening is internal, and it's also external. Internal, again, through our relationships and money, and trying to figure out how to survive, and externally through excuse me, getting over cold, and through externally, which is, what we see, what the environment tells us. But the truth of the matter is, the divinity itself, again, will ground. Once it grounds, there will be heaven on earth. And that's how you create the paradigm shift within yourself. I mean, so that's why this is a profound relationship, and you can balance it out, and in that, at the same time, become someone new, and then you attract that energy because you become a magnet to those experiences that are on the same vibration. I hope that that was helpful for you, Suzanne, and I hope anyone that's actually listened to this, because Suzanne's situation is very common, very common. Thank you. Thank you so much for being on. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, like, sitting in and giving me support tonight, because you held space here for me, because that's how readings work, right? It's, again, it's never just a one-sided thing. And what's so great too, Suzanne, is collectively there's other people that have gone living your experience, that are living your experience, that are struggling with your experience, and they too will benefit from hearing this spiritual message. It's because it's, again, we all, but it's all about spiritual evolution, like moving forward and doing it. And like I said, you'll get through it. And I want to thank you for joining. And I want to thank everybody else that joined tonight's live stream. I'm going to try and be more consistent. But I have my own anxieties too, and it's a process, right? It's all a process. It's a grounding process for us all. We're all, and just because I'm on this side of the camera doesn't mean that I don't need healing. Most of the time, we need more healing. That's where we're on this side of the camera. It's just our issue is we tend not to be consistent. So it's about self mastery. So I thank everyone for tuning in. And if you resonated with this video and you'd like a personal reading with me, feel free to write the word Master Healer in your comment bar, and wait and see if I write the word winner underneath. So if I did, you can reach out to me at pureenergyhealer70@gmail.com and tell me that you wrote the word winner. Thank you, Suzanne. I'm going to wait a little bit, but I sure enough want to give you a reading. It's just readings are online, and I feel like I just gave you one. Yeah, like the readings are all spiritual readings, so we can definitely do a deeper reading. But I also want to invite anyone else that happens to catch this, because the channel is new and it will help me be consistent. I will be back on again tomorrow, Suzanne. So I definitely want you to come and visit me again. I appreciate you so much. And thank you, everyone. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, definitely subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends. If you're looking for coaching, by the way, I have starting a coaching program on this channel about healing the shadow, learning to integrate the shadow. And there's a lot of different exercises. I will also be doing psychic development classes and stuff like that. So I definitely want you to check it out. And but definitely visit me tomorrow. And I see you guys all soon. Thank you again. Bye. And Suzanne, like you said, just pop on tomorrow night with any other questions. All right. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye bye.